D, wait for it, delightful.
Check out the name tag. You're in my world now, Grandma.
What's up, nerds? I just finished the Book of Boba Fett episode 6, and oh my goodness, this was fantastic. There were so many Easter eggs and so many cameos. I cannot get over it. I mean, I think that Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni really, I think they understand Star Wars and they really get what makes Star Wars Star Wars. I recently did a video, and I have to be I have to be honest with you. I don't think that for instance, the prequel trilogy is not my favorite. I don't think that it's the best writing and everything, but it's very Star Wars. It's very Star Wars. The sequel trilogy, whether you like them or not, and there are things in them that I do like, but for the most part, I don't like them. They're not Star Wars. They're just not Star Wars. Not like this show is, not like the prequel trilogy is. And I think that it's just a lack of understanding of what makes Star Wars Star Wars. And this episode did, in my opinion, is so much, especially towards the fandom. But one thing that I have to complain about is this is called the Book of Boba Fett, and he was only in one very short scene. And I just go, I think that was a misstep on their part. And I from what I understand, they wanted to make this show a Boba Fett show, the Mandalorian Boba Fett show, but for some reason they couldn't. And sorry, I need a little libation. I know I'm late to the game and everything. I had a dentist appointment, so if I start to lick my lips a lot and stuff, it's because my face is half numb. But anyways, it was great. I loved this episode. It was so good. We're going to break it down and everything. But before I break it down, I just want to say that if you like what I do here and you enjoy independent content here on YouTube, please consider subscribing to my channel. YouTube is always changing up their algorithm, and small channels like mine, we just get shoved right to the back of the line. So I please ask that you like, share, and subscribe, and I thank you in advance. I also ask you to do this to any small YouTuber that you find out there. I know they would appreciate it. All right. In saying that, let's break down this episode. So we start off out in the middle of nowhere. I can't remember the name of this little town from season 2 of The Mandalorian. But the Pikes show up with their spice and their gold or whatever, their credits. And there's Jeremy Oliphant. He showed up again. And he's all like, if you go that way or that way, that's our territory, and I'm the marshal of that territory. And he's like, you can go to Mos Espa, because, anything goes there, and you can go to Mos Eisley, or anything goes to Mos Eisley, and you can go to Mos Espa, but here is a no-go kind of thing. And so they're all like, he's like, now, since you're new here, I'm going to give you a chance to grab all your crap and leave. Don't come back. But if you stay, problems. And that lead one, he's all like, he turns and he goes for his gun, and bang, bang, he shoots 3 of them. And then the last one, he's all like, why don't you leave that case right there? And he's all like, that's worth more than your whole town. He's like, well, then maybe I'll retire. So he leaves the case of spice, takes the gold, or the credits, and he opens it up, and he sees the spice, and he just dumps it out. And I was like, good for you. Drugs are bad. Just say no. Dare. Anyways. So then we go over to the Naboo fighter, a.k.a. the new ship for Mando. And he goes to this planet. And I don't remember what planet this is from. This is from the sequel trilogy. It's obvious they're going to keep with the sequel trilogy, because it turned out so well. And he goes and he lands. And we see R2-D2. And when I saw R2-D2, I was like, oh, I'm so excited, Luke! and everything. And so he gets out and he's like, I'm looking for, Grogu, yada, yada. So R2-D2 takes him over here where these spider robots are building the first building of the new Jedi school, Luke's school and everything. And and it looks all right. It looks like the hut that he builds on that one planet he goes to. Who cares? The island planet. I don't think this is the island planet, but you never know. It could be, and it's just a different part of it. Okay. So then he's sitting there, and the robots start building a bench. He's like, is that a bench? And everything. And then he sits down, he's waiting. Because R2-D2 shut off. So Luke is teaching Grogu, and Grogu, he picks up this frog because he's going to eat it. And he's like, Grogu, you naughty boy, and everything. And he picks up all the other frogs. And Grogu's like, what? What's going on here, master? Hopefully. And I just have to say, when Luke showed up, I was like, this is great. I love seeing Luke. And he looks way better than he did in season 2 of The Mandalorian, where they just like planted his face on him. He was kind of like wobbly a little bit. And this just goes to show they should have more of the original trilogy characters in here. And from Clone Wars, because we'll see some other stuff in here in a minute. But I loved this, and I love this training montage a little bit with Grogu. I loved all of it, and we'll get into it just a little bit more as we go through this episode. But having Luke on here, just like, it warms my heart. And for me as a fan, you know, I've been a fan since I was very little, and I just loved this episode. So moving on. So they're walking. He's like, you remind me of Yoda, and he's like that. He says something. I can't remember what he says, but he's like, that's how he talked and everything. He's like, do you remember anybody from your home? And he's like, let me help you remember. And we get this small memory of these Jedi adults defending Grogu during Order 66, and they eventually all die. And then they get Grogu. And so I'm kind of interested to see how they ended up in the hands of those one guys at the end of episode 1 of season 1 and everything. And look, I'm wearing my Boba Fett shirt on. Anyways, sorry. And so he's sitting there talking to him and stuff. And then he sits up and there's Ashoka. And I was like, Ahsoka, I'm so happy. and everything. And Rosario Dawson, she's sitting there talking to him. And she's tells him that this is the school that's going to be, you know, for the Jedi and everything. And then she's talking to him about Grogu and his attachments and everything. I can't remember exactly what they say. And she's like, so then she's like, she shows him Grogu and she's all like, listen, if you go up there and he sees you, he might want to go with you. And is that the best for him to go with you? Or is it the best for him to stay here and become a Jedi and learn the Jedi way? You know, he's a foundling. This is for him. And she's like, well, is he a foundling or is he a Padawan kind of thing? And so he decides to give it to Ahsoka and he tells him to give it to him and tell him it's from him. And he goes. And again, I think that was the right choice. Listen, don't get me wrong. Grogu, is adorable, and I love it. But I think it's time to move on when it comes to Djarin. I think it's time to move on past Grogu. Like I want to see the next chapter in this character story, and I think Grogu is his past, not his future. But I'm obviously not correct in that, even though I think I am. But because they're gonna probably have Grogu go with him later on. So then he's sitting there and he's like, you know, they see the ship and then he's all like, jump and everything. And he does this little thing and he's like, that all you got? He's like, use the Force kind of thing. So then, I can't remember what he says here. He looks so good. I love this, that they have Luke in here. It's so good. So he puts him on his back and he starts jumping and running like he did on Dagobah with Yoda on his back and everything. And so he's doing all this stuff and climbs these bamboos and he's like, feel the Force around you and everything. He's like, this is the Force, da-da-da-da-da, all this stuff. And I was like, oh, this is really, really good. I liked it a lot. And so he's like teaching him how to use the Force. He's balancing and stuff. He's like so freaking cute. And he's like using the lightsaber in front of him and stuff. And then he pulls out this thing. He's like, this is a training bot or whatever. Or a reaction bot. I can't remember. And he rolls and he's like, that's not what it's used for, you silly goose. And he comes up and it like blasts him a little bit. So he starts hopping and everything. And then he gets out to the water and he takes it and he does his little and then he breaks it and falls in the water. So Ahsoka's here sitting here talking. She's like, you remind me of your father. And then she talks about attachments and everything. And then she goes away. She's like, I can't remember exactly what she says. Sorry, I just got done watching it, and I need to finish this before I got to head off to work and everything. But Grogu, look how cute he is. He's so stinking cute. So then we go back to Tatooine and everything, where he goes to Jabba's palace, now Boba's palace. I love Jabba the Hutt's palace. I've said this before in my other reviews, but I love the architecture of it. I know it's simplistic, but when I was younger, when I first saw Return of the Jedi, I was obsessed with Jabba's palace. Like, everything about it. Like, I was obsessed with, like, the people that lived there. I got every book I could get a hold of about it. It's all not canon anymore. It's all in Legacies or whatever it's called. But I, the sailing barge, all that stuff. I loved it. So then he lands and they're there, and this guy's all like, ugh, and everything. He's like, I want to talk to him. So then Finnick Shand is all like, the mayor has left. And I like this guy was like, actually, it was a planned vacation. I was like, get out of here. You're so funny, though. I love that the little major domo guy. And so she's like, listen, she's like, the Pikes are starting a war. She's like, the other family said they'll stay out of it and everything, but we don't have, she's like, with Wookiee and the Mandalorian, we have foot soldiers to keep, the peace kind of thing, but we don't have foot soldiers, so we can't effectively fight a war. And he's like, and the Mandalorian's like, I think I can get some people or whatever. So he goes in here, and I like how these Jawas have this dragon's head on the top of their sandcrawler. So freaking cool. Of course Jawas would do that. Of course they would. So he lands in Jeremy Oliphant's, or Timothy. Why do I call him Jeremy? Timothy Oliphant. Ugh, Matthew. He lands here, and this is the deputy, who's kind of annoying, okay? And so he's like, you got to park your car over there, sir. No valet and everything. He's like, I'm here to talk to the marshal. And he's all like, he's new. He's the new deputy. So they go in. So he's like, is that a Naboo starfighter? He's like, that's where it started out as. So they go in, and they're sitting here talking. I don't remember these bones from season 1, but I was all like, when I first saw it, I was like, are those the bones from the dragon? If they did that, that's super clever. Anyways. So he's sitting here talking. He's like, basically, like, he's like, you guys are good fighters. We need fighters. And I like how the bartender's like, it's Freedom Town or whatever. And he's like, it sounds like that's a big city problem. We're a small town and everything. And he's all like, yeah, he's all like, we don't owe you anything. We're square. And he's all like, listen, if you can help us because what affects the big city will affect you eventually. And it does. So then he leaves. And then right after he leaves, he's like, get together everybody that can fight, that's of fighting age, and tell them to come in. I want to have a meeting. He's like, are you sure? And he's like, yeah, and everything. And I think that's so. I think they're going to come and fight anyways. So then we get this Lone Ranger. As soon as I saw this, the hat right there, I knew who it was. So he sees him coming in. He tells this girl, can you get those people and get inside real quick? And so... in come Cad Bane. He comes in, he's all like, whatever the Mandalorian is paying you, the Pikes will double it. And he's like, and then the deputy's like, he's not paying him. We said we're not interested or something like that and everything. And he looks at the deputy, and I'm like, that deputy, I'm like, maybe you need to shut up, okay? He dies later, and I'm like, you deserve that because you're an idiot. And he's basically like, you shouldn't have gotten involved. And look how scary he is. It's like, he's very good. Him moving from animation to live action is very good. I'm very happy with this. This is so cool. It's so cool. I love that Dave Filoni is bringing all these characters that we know and love to live action. Long story short, because I can't remember exactly what he says, this guy pulls the trigger too soon, and he shoots Jeremy Oliphant. Jeremy, why do I keep calling him Jeremy? His name is Timothy Oliphant. He shoots him, the marshal. I'm going to call him the marshal now so I don't mess up again. And then he shoots this guy 3 times and kills him. Now, I don't think Timothy Oliphant, the marshal, is dead. I think he's still alive because he got shot in the shoulder. So I think he's just shot. And did he shoot him in his gun? Yeah, it looks like he shot him in his non-firing arm. So that's good. Kills him, and I'm like, good, because you're stupid. We don't need stupid people in Star Wars right now. And then he tells the people, he's all like, stay out of the way kind of thing. The Syndicate, and they go to help him out. Then the Pikes go into Sanctuary, and they sit down, and she sends these two to go clean their helmets, and they come back, and they're like, they didn't want their helmets cleaned, and then they leave. And then they left their little, hold on, let me see if I got a screen grab of it with them holding it. Yeah, this thing right here is that he's holding. So they sit down and then they leave. But then the robot's all like, oh, you left your little cantina thingy. And I can't remember her name, but she knows what's going down. And then it explodes. And I was like, oh, they destroyed Sanctuary. Which makes me go, why did they destroy Sanctuary of all places? Sanctuary didn't come out and was like pro Boba Fett. They just paid him like everybody else. But yeah. And they killed that Twi'lek. I liked that Twi'lek. And her little Twi'lek buddies. They were hot. Anyway, so then back at the, you know, the temple, the Jedi Academy. Sorry, I just needed a little libation. Luke is sitting here, and he's all like, I have something for you. And he pulls up this mithril armor. I call it mithril armor because it looks just like what Bilbo Baggins wore. And he's all like, this was from your friend, the Mandalorian. And he's like, but before you pick it up, I have a choice for you. And he takes out this lightsaber. He's like, this lightsaber belonged to Yoda, Master Yoda. And he's like, you can either stay and follow the ways of the Jedi and become a great Jedi Master, or you can take the armor, the chainmail, and go with the Mandalorian. And he makes him choose. Now, I didn't think this was good to make him choose, but I mean, why not both? That's what my whole thing is. Like, why not be a Jedi with some, you know, mithril armor? I can't remember what it's called, the metal, off the top of my head. And he's sitting there and he's looking at it, he's trying to choose, and he's like, you know, you must pick one and everything. And then that's where it ends. And I have to say, I don't like choices like that, like, because that's like a Sophie's Choice kind of thing, and I didn't like it. But at the same time, I loved this episode. I can't tell you how much I love this episode. It was so good. All the cameos in this episode were so good. It just makes me want more of the stuff, like from the characters from Clone Wars and the characters from Rebels. We're supposed to get Sabine Wren in the Ahsoka show, and we're supposed to get what's his face? I can't remember. But I love seeing Luke and everything. And the rumor is that Han Solo is going to show up. There was a small rumor that they were also going to have Princess Leia, but I guess they didn't want to shoot their load this early into the Star Wars game. But I just have to say, again, before I end this, I love this episode. The show was a pretty slow start, but it seems that having the Mandalorian as your main character, everybody really loves it. They're doing Boba Fett in my opinion. But you know, you can't. I'm not writing this show, so what do I know? But saying that is the end of my breakdown, you guys. Tell me, what did you guys think about this episode? I know you love this episode, and this was the best episode of the season / maybe even of the Mandalorian kind of thing. But yeah, go ahead and tell me what you guys think. Go ahead and which was your favorite cameo? For me, I have to say it was probably Cad Bane, because out of all of them, that was the one I was like least expecting out of all of them. Like the other ones popping up, I was like, oh, we've seen those before, but that one was a new one. And I was just like, as soon as I saw him walking through the thing, I was like, shut up, this is so good, everything. All right, again, go ahead and leave all your comments in that section down below. If you like this video, go and hit that like button. You know I won't mind. If you're new to my channel, please hit that subscribe button. I'd greatly appreciate it. And I will see you guys on my next breakdown and review of the season finale of the Book of Boba Fett next week. You guys have a good week. Bye.